Good afternoon, Damien. How you doing, man? Welcome to the Koa Collective, and good afternoon, guys. To anybody who manages to tune into the live. Steve here from Globotel again, and this afternoon, it's a nice warm Friday afternoon here in South Africa, and I'm joined by Damien Corbett, who is. Don't get fooled by his accent. We've had a few varieties of accents on our double shots.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by Damien's accent. He's in London, but he's from Zimbabwe back in the day. So he's don't lose your way there. Nice to have you, Damien. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Steve. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I've got a bit of an accent still. And when I talk to somebody from that part of the world, it starts to come back. So, but it's a pleasure to be on the webinar.
Yeah, for sure. So, so just a little bit of quick context about who Damien is and what his story is. Quite a unique one. He's not a digital agency owner necessarily. You know, he was just explaining. So, and this is why we asked him to come on. He's written a book called The Social CEO, particularly around, if I understand, the topic of the book being around the role that business leaders, CEOs, MDs, and those kinds of players in our lives can actually play in the social media side of their business. You know, the role that they can play in helping the marketing team, for example, I would imagine, in saying, hey, listen, you know, I'm a thought leader in our industry. I'm the one who set up the business, or I'm the one who leads the business. Let me get out there and actually get social. Is that sort of where we're at, Damien?
Yeah, I mean, that sums it up pretty well. I mean, the book has actually got multiple contributors. So from different aspects, whether it's to help CEOs understand how to be a thought leader, or how to do their PR better, or how to attract talent, or how to manage risk. And then there's also chapters written by individual CEOs who in different sectors, from insurance to sport to marketing to startups. So, and the whole point of the book is basically to show the importance of these days of CEOs actually engaging more with their customer base, or if they work for like a non-profit charity, for example, with their supporters, engaging internally with employees using internal social networks. Obviously, it depends on the size of the organization, but certainly, yeah, it's the kind of social age that we're in now, and the book is sort of there as a kind of guide to help leaders understand really why it's important for them to be doing this.
Yeah, and I guess it's a conversation that I suppose if you are a marketing team, I mean, as I say, obviously in the community, we're digital agency owners for the most part, and they're working with end clients who are often the marketing manager of the business. Is there a we'll get to, as I mentioned, we'll ask you a couple of tips that you can share that maybe you can just shoot out just before we end about what the digital agency owners or people working with end clients can maybe take forward to these CEOs. But is it a matter of those CEOs having a desire to be involved, or should there be a bit of an encouragement from the agency side or from the marketing side to say, hey, I'm the internal marketer here in the business. You're the CEO. We really love you to get involved in what we're doing on social media, because it's going to help us build a bit of authority or likeness with our clients.
I think it's a combination of things. The CEO needs to want to do it, and if they are reluctant, they kind of need to be shown the way and shown why it's important. So that's why books like this and others, you know, are there to help them understand why they should be doing it. In terms of helping the marketing team, definitely. I think we have to be careful though, and not let the CEO just be an extension of the marketing voice. They have to be seen as a lot more authentic, talking about wider issues than just plugging the business. But I think there is a big scope there for agencies to work with the marketing managers and marketing teams or marketing directors and organizations to encourage the CEO or the managing director to get a little bit more active, perhaps more active on LinkedIn to start with, perhaps start doing some thought leadership pieces, which could even be written by the marketing people, but written in a more kind of general way. So it's more about positioning the leader as an expert in that industry.
Gotcha.
that's one thing that can help with branding the organization and branding the leader as somebody who's a kind of go-to expert. So if you're competing with several other, if one of your clients is whatever they might be a manufacturing company, or they might be a printer, or whoever, but getting their leader to kind of stand out and just be a bit more outspoken and visible in front of potential customers and
Gotcha.
potential competitors as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose what the content marketers, any content marketers who view this will sit there, will be saying in their heads, it's about storytelling. It's about
It is.
the business telling their story, and the CEO or the MD of the business telling the same story, but maybe from a different perspective.
Absolutely, yeah. It is about storytelling, really. That's what it comes down to. It's not about selling. And just as an aside, this is something that I think a lot of companies miss, is the traditional sales teams going out selling to customers. That's
Yeah,
obviously a lot more difficult now. So one of the things that the sales teams can do is they can also adapt social media and use it as to position themselves as experts in their field. And again, work closely with the marketing team to kind of get the messaging right and do social selling rather than face-to-face selling. So that's another aspect. But my focus is obviously on the CEOs and that. But yeah, it is about storytelling at the end of the day.
got you. And I think it's interesting you bring up the sales team, because in a way you're sort of bringing in a whole other side to things as well there, in terms of it's not just about the CEO, it's not just about the marketing team, it's about the sales team as well, who have their own motives, not ulterior motives.
Yes.
They're the same motives, but the same motives. They've got motives of actually closing sales and meeting targets, for example, whereas the
Yes.
marketing team has similar targets in terms of KPIs maybe, or reach, or bringing the cost per click down. But I suppose you don't want to overwhelm the CEO and make it like
No, you
make
don't.
them feel
Definitely,
too,
yeah.
make them feel too under pressure to lift too much. I suppose you just want to keep them engaged. And I suppose the argument that they could have is that they're the CEO, they've got better things to do with their time. But I suppose your point is that it's an important part of their job these days.
Well, these days, I mean, of course, they're busy.
Yeah.
And they have a lot to do. And I think they just need, I think for a lot of CEOs, sorry, I've just been trying to find a quote from my book to read out, but I think the CEOs need to realize that times have changed.
Yeah.
And because there's an expectation, it shouldn't be seen as a time suck or like, oh, damn, it's another job I have to do. It should be seen as something integral to what they do, even if it's at a very small scale, even if it just means engaging on LinkedIn once a day and posting something. If they can get on Twitter, even better, It depends on the audience, if they can get on Instagram as well. So there's different ways of doing it. But from the sales team point of view, it's not about pushing, because if you try and do that on social media, on LinkedIn, you'll just push prospects away. It's about introducing yourself and being helpful.
Value.
This is what, we solve these issues, I know about this stuff. So you might be selling to doctors, you might be selling to pharmacists, whoever. And it's basically being somebody there who can, and of course you want to sell something at the end of the day, but it's being helpful and being in their front of mind. So when they need something, they know who to go to. They know to go to that salesperson who's actually been chipping away and actually not doing the hard sell, but actually giving useful, helpful advice, maybe sharing on their LinkedIn account new research that they've come across, or oh look, I've just come across this article that people might find interesting. Sharing stuff like that, being helpful, and it will be reciprocated eventually. So but it's again, sales teams are up against fairly short targets, so it's thinking more long term, and it's the same with the CEOs, kind of chipping away at how they are perceived as the leader, and just small steps. Really, it doesn't have to be very time consuming. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day.
Yeah. It's like that idea of nurturing, I suppose, down the lead funnel, down the sales funnel.
Yes,
It's not about
exactly. It's classic nurturing. It's just a slightly different approach.
Got you. So before we finish off, obviously, as I said, we're trying to make this as valuable as possible, as practical as possible, so that any digital agency owners or people working in digital agencies who are in a situation where maybe they've got a big client or a small client who's got a reluctant CEO or got a keen CEO, maybe they've got some keen CEOs.
Yeah.
What 3 tips, 1 or 2 or even 3 tips that you could immediately give them practically today to go out and either start that conversation, continue that conversation, improve that conversation with the CEO or the MD of that company to get them engaged in that social side.
Yeah, I think first of all, basically ask them, what is your goal? What's your strategy? It should be tied to the company strategy. So, what does the CEO want to say? Do they feel passionately about a certain issue of the business? That they need to actually define the goal.
Yeah.
So that's help them define the goal of what they're going to do on social media to start with, so that they're not just diving in without actually having a focus. And then encourage them to follow their contemporaries, their peers, competitors, follow people, whether it's on LinkedIn or Twitter, follow them, build Twitter lists, whatever. Have a look at what people are saying, how they're interacting. Look at the ones who are doing it well. Look at the ones who are doing it badly. Learn from the ones who are doing it well. Copy what they're doing if you need to. And then start talking, but do it gradually. Get help internally about how you position, how you say something. If you want to do a LinkedIn post, a thought leadership piece, work with your comms people or a PR person or whatever, and then just get something out there. And then just and then gauge the response as people, try and do it once a week or once a month, see what works, what doesn't, and then the kind of posts that get more response, do more of them. It's not rocket science, but it's just it's getting them to get started and have a focus and then follow that.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Beautiful. Total sense. And actually it echoes a lot of the tips and advice that we've received in the past. I mean, we on these double shots, we speak to a wide range of people. Influencer marketing, video content marketing, email marketing, help everybody actually, as I say, what you've just suggested echoes a lot of what those people have said as well. Alignment of goals, continue what's working and stop what isn't working. And I think what's most important about what you said there was actually just get it out there, because I think there's a big reluctance. This is a theme that's run throughout
there's a fear of doing it. It's like, oh 100%. God, what's going to happen if I post something? I'm going to get trolled.
Yeah.
It's unlikely. Unless you're saying stuff like Elon Musk. If you're just being sensible, you're not going to get trolled. And if that does happen, you can block people, or you 100%. Can take the conversation offline. If somebody's not happy and they want to go straight to the CEO to complain, say to them, look, we're glad that you contacted us. Send us your email address, and then get the customer service people to contact them. Take it offline, but somebody will see that the CEO's responded there. And it's been taken offline, so that it's not taking up their time. But it is about engagement as well. And that's the thing, is finding the time to engage can be tricky.
Yeah, and I'd imagine some busy CEOs that is one of the obstacles they think that they're reluctant to get involved in is, hey, I don't have the time to sit on Twitter all day and engage. But I guess it's
not all day though. That's the thing, is it's 5 minutes a day,
exactly,
or three times a day.
We should have such problems that our posts and our tweets get such attention that we
exactly. We'd all like that.
Yeah, exactly. Damien, thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. This has been really insightful. Yeah, and I mean, as I mentioned before, we're hoping to start bringing in a little bit more of this sort of advice for digital agencies. It's not always from the digital agency perspective, but from outsiders' perspective of people who work in different environments and who can share different insights in ways that digital marketing people don't often see the world. But we often do deal with those issues, like CEOs in businesses who we could make use of. So thanks very much for joining. We'll, guys, we'll stick Damien's details down below as usual. There's a comment in underneath the video. The video will go up on our YouTube channel. We'll put a link to that as well, so you can view the full video, and also our previous double shots as well will be there. And if you are watching this and you do have any, if you've got a client who's in this situation where you maybe potentially have a CEO who you'd like to start engaging with, and you think that Damien might be able to help you out with that, I'm sure you wouldn't mind if you got in touch just for a bit of advice or tips or access to his book as well. Damien, by all means, you can put the link down below to your book if people want to purchase it. By all means, go for it. I think it'll be valuable.
Okay, thanks a lot for having me. I hope it was useful.
Awesome, man. Always lekker. Thank you so much. Be well.
Okay, take care. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.